Welcome back and thanks for stopping by, and welcome to my New Year's Eve special. I wanted to do a video on New Year's Eve just to say thank you to all my subscribers for subscribing throughout the year, and I wanted to give you guys something just to say thanks. And if you guys want to comment and let me know what you think on this video, please do. So basically I was looking through my CD collection earlier, through all my albums, and there were a number of albums that turned 30 this year, and I hadn't covered them all in videos. I know one in Vitalogy I had done, and it actually went very well, that video. So I decided I'm going to run through my top 10 albums that were released in 1994. But I actually had 11 when I went counting, so it's going to be my top 11 albums released in 1994. So look, I hope you enjoy the ranking, and I would love if you could comment below and let me know what your favourite albums of 1994, albums that turned 30 this year. Please let me know in the comments below, and maybe there'll be some albums that I haven't heard of and I need to get on board with. Okay, so coming in at number 11, as we say, because I had 11, not 10, it is Voodoo Lounge by the Rolling Stones. I actually picked this up earlier this year. The reason I bought it was because this one was recorded in Wimbledon Studios in Dublin, and I went there last year for a visit of the studio, and of course there was Rolling Stones stuff plastered everywhere, so I said, right, I have to get my hands on this album. I bought this album second hand, and I think it was less than €5, so again, can't go wrong with second hand CDs. Love Is Strong is a great song, and so is You Got Me Rockin', but the rest of the album is a bit lackluster, to be honest. So there you go. That one was released when, I think I have it written down here somewhere. Yeah, it was released on the 11th of July 1994. Okay, coming in at number 10, still have the price tag on this one, so you can see how good a value this was. It's R.E.M. Monster, and it was only €2. So can't go wrong. Absolutely brilliant. This was one of the first R.E.M. albums I really got into, because really started coming of age around 1994. I was 11. And this album was released in 1994, was when I was starting to get into music, and particularly rock music. So the big song from this album is What's the Frequency, Kenneth. Again, it was a little bit of a departure for R.E.M. They were kind of jumping on board with the grunge scene, you know, heavy guitars, all that type of stuff. But it's a pretty good album, to be honest, and I couldn't go wrong for €2. So that's coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9, it's Weezer classic, their debut album, The Blue Album, just called The Blue Album. Yeah, this was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Bought this years back, not in 94, but certainly, you know, in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's got classics on it here, like Buddy Holly, the Sweater Song, Say It Ain't So, Holiday, Only in Dreams. Absolutely brilliant album by Weezer, and well deserving of its place at number 9, in my opinion. Coming in at number 8, another absolutely brilliant album, Jeff Buckley, Grace. Absolutely class. Didn't buy this one. There was my brother-in-law was purging his collection, or getting rid of his collection, a couple of years ago, and he had a big box of CDs, and I rummaged through them and I picked out the best ones before he was going to throw them out. So I decided to salvage what he didn't want. But yeah, this was one of the albums that was in there, and it's absolutely fantastic from Jeff Buckley. If you haven't heard of Jeff Buckley, or you're not familiar with his stuff, do go check him out. He's phenomenal. He came out in that whole, you know, alternative rock scene, but he was much more folkier than that type of stuff. But yeah, definitely go check him out if you haven't before. Mojo Pin, Grace, Last Goodbye, Hallelujah, of course, is the big one that a lot of people will know. A cover of a Leonard Cohen song. But yeah, that's an absolute classic there. Jeff Buckley. Okay, coming in at number 7. It's the Green Day classic, Ducky. Hard to believe that's 30 years old, but yes, it is. Of course, it has the classic here, Basket Case, but it also has Welcome to Paradise, Long View, When I Come Around, and, you know, Having a Blast, Chump. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant album, and yeah, hard to believe it turned 30 this year. I think I picked this up this year, actually, because I saw Green Day in the summer. So I was obviously trying to fill in the albums that I hadn't got from bands I was trying to see this year, and this was one of them. So picked it up. I think it was brand new, actually, But yeah, great album. Produced by Rob Cavallo and Green Day, and an absolute classic from 1994. Okay, next album. I actually bought that this year as well. It's Definitely Maybe. So Oasis's debut album, released in 1994. This version is the remastered version. It was released in 2014, but it was re-released in 2024 as a deluxe with the Mono Valley and Sawmill sessions. This was actually released just ahead of Oasis reforming, or announcing that they'll reform and that they'll be playing next year some gigs in all over the world. Basically, it started with the UK and Ireland, but then it spread to North America and Asia and South America as well. But for me, Definitely Maybe, probably, I don't know, is it Oasis' best album in my opinion, and I'll have to look at that at some point and do a ranking, but it's certainly up there in the top, 2 or 3 albums by Oasis. Absolutely classic, a real rocker. You've got Rock and Roll Star Shaker, Make Her Live Forever, Columbia, Supersonic, Cigarettes and Alcohol, Slide Away. Absolutely classic album, and that's coming in at number 6. Another one from 1994. Okay, moving into the grunge now. Coming in at number 5, Pearl Jam's Vitalogy. I carried out a full review on this album a couple of weeks ago, and it went down really well. So definitely go check that out if you get a chance. But look, this album isn't all perfect. It's hit and miss. But I think what I said on the review, and I stand by it, there's about 5 or 6 songs on this album that are some of Pearl Jam's best songs. And that's the reason why I think it should be at number 5. I'll just run through the songs that I think are great on it. So we've got Not For You, Nothing Man, Corduroy, Better Man, and Immortality. So those 5 songs are 5 of Pearl Jam's best songs. And then there's a lot of stuff in there that's kind of filler and odd stuff that wasn't really needed in my opinion. But yeah, no, still a great album, Vitalogy, and deserving at number 5 in my list. Coming in at number 4, my favourite album released in 1994 that's in my collection, Nirvana, MTV Unplugged. Absolutely brilliant. Love this one. My second favourite album by Nirvana at the moment. This was actually released, when was it? It was originally released in 1994 after Kurt Cobain passed away, but this version I think was released in the early 2000s, along with a DVD, and I bought both. I bought the CD and the DVD. So yeah, you've got all 14 songs performed by Nirvana on the night, but what you also get is they don't just follow a standard set list that other bands did with playing their biggest hits. They shied away from the biggest hits. They play Come As You Are, fair enough, and they play some stuff off the new album, but they play a lot of covers on this, most notably The Man Who Sold the World, which is the cover of a David Bowie song, but arguably the version on this one is much more memorable, and I think it's an absolutely brilliant album. Nirvana, MTV Unplugged, coming in at number 4. Okay, coming in at number 3, this might be a surprise to some people, but I absolutely adore this album, absolutely adore this artist. It's Tom Petty and his album Wildflowers. Technically, it's a Tom Petty solo album, but most of the Heartbreakers actually play on this album. It was released in 1994, produced by Rick Rubin, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Production is amazing on this one, and the songwriting is great as well. Not really a hard rock album, more of a kind of folk rock album, but yeah, I really, really love this album. I don't think there's a bad song on it, and I think it's almost an hour long, which is saying a lot, but Tom Petty was an amazing songwriter, singer, and band leader with the Heartbreakers, like absolutely brilliant. Love all of his stuff, and I'm getting through his albums now. I'm trying to pick them all up as and when I see them, and eventually I will be doing a full Tom Petty rundown, hopefully, on his albums, and also a ranking on his albums. But yeah, Wildflowers is definitely up there, one of my favourite Tom Petty albums. Okay, coming in at number 2, and it is Pink Floyd's Division Bell. Released in 1994. This was released obviously after the departure of Roger Waters, so it's very much a David Gilmour led album. But I've reviewed this with Eric, my mate, who's a massive Pink Floyd fan. I've reviewed this as a part of that whole season, the Pink Floyd season. And we ranked every single album. We reviewed every single album, should I say. And then we ranked them. And that video has just gone out a few days ago. So definitely go check that one out. but Division Bell we both rated very, very highly. It's an amazing album. Hard to believe that Pink Floyd could put together such a brilliant album after losing Roger Waters and at the end of their career in 1994. It's just fantastic, you know. Poles Apart is brilliant. Marooned, Cluster 1, Keep Talking, High Hopes, produced by Bob Ezrin and David Gilmour. It's an absolutely phenomenal album, and again a fantastic cover as well. So 1994 Division Bell, absolutely brilliant, coming in at number 2. And coming in at number 1, my favourite album released in 1994 has to be Super Unknown by Soundgarden. This is an absolute classic. I love it. Absolutely love it. Again, there's no filler on this album. This was really the album for me where I became aware of Soundgarden. I was probably 11 at the time when this album came out, and I remember sitting in the barber shop where they used to have the rock channels on. I think it was MTV2 or VH1 or VH2. It was whatever it was. It was all rock channels. There used to be a lot of Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana, Soundgarden on it. But I do remember watching the video for Super Unknown at 11 years of age. For Black Hole Sun, should I say, 11 years of age, and just thinking this band are amazing. So picked up the album a few days later, and so impressed. Produced by Michael Beinhorn, who did a great interview with Rick Beato on his channel, so go check that out if you're interested in this album. They talk about a lot of the sounds and the production, and it was mixed by Brendan O'Brien, who's another producer that I think is amazing. The band then also went on to work with Brendan O'Brien on some stuff in the future. But yeah, Super Unknown is absolutely brilliant. Let Me Drown, My Wave, Fell on Black Days, Super Unknown, Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man, Limo Wreck, The Day I Tried to Live, Kickstand, 4th of July. Like this album is so good. It's almost like a greatest hits. There's that much good material on it. But yeah, that's my favourite albums of 1994. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope everyone has a happy new year, and I will talk to you next year, and big plans for 2025. Please let me know in the comments what your favourite albums from my list were. If you could also hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, share it with anyone who you think might like this video, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.